Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. So today I want to show you my current project in Delph. So as you followed probably my older videos, I've completed the whole atlas with my Juggernaut. Then I was playing some Reef for Uber Elder, and now I'm currently farming Doctor cards in Burial Chambers tier 3. I choose to go with an Autobomber because I think it's just more enjoyable for me to play besides like a Wind Ripper, right? Because like everybody's playing Wind Ripper, and maybe Wind Ripper is actually better because you have like more quant and more rarity, I think. But in the end, you're just gonna do it like quite some time. It's not like I'm just going in there and farm like a Doctor card within like 2 hours and that's about it. So you're gonna farm quite a while. So yeah, for me, this one is more enjoyable. So before we go into the detail, I'm just gonna throw in a map. Basically, I'm just running what I find. Like, I shaped my atlas so I can permanently sustain the Burial Chambers. So yeah, you charge in and you just blow everything up. Hope for some good buffs since we run 2 jewels, inspired learnings. Yeah, yesterday I started this build. This character is like 20 hours or something. And yeah. Got 1 Doctor card, 1 Divine, and 1 Exalted Orb yesterday. So that would be actually cool to find another Doctor card in here while we are making this video here. But as you see, it's just hold down 1 button and loot. That's what the build is all about. We run 81% quantity, which is quite a lot. Oh, it explodes. Run! Run faster! But yeah, in the end, you know, as you probably watched the video about Slippery, who tested 500 Burials with quantity, 500 with rarity. Rarity came out right on top, but in the end, you know, it's still RNG, so I think quantity for me is better. Anyways, that was the map. I think there was like 45 seconds, maybe 1 minute. That's probably the average I need on this build to complete a Burial Chamber map. So yeah, let's go quick into the detail of the gear. So what makes the thing actually possible is a double Herald chain reaction explosion. What we need is actually a Coming Calamity, which says mana reservation of Heralds is always 45%. Since we have a 6-linked Herald over here and a 4-linked Herald over here, like the spots doesn't really matter anyway, you reserve way more. Like, if I just have this one without the armor equipped, we have 42% reserved mana on Herald of Ice alone. So if you count in the 6-link, that would probably soak up like 70% mana, so that's not possible. So we need this chest. So both of our Heralds will consume like 45%, so we can run 6-link and 4-link, right? So, other than that, we have Cosprees and an Ash Mirror. Cosprees with a Glacial Cascade. So, when we get a melee crit, we will activate a socketed Cold Gem in it, and this is Glacial Cascade. Since we run a shitload of crit, this procs like 24/7, and this, yeah, starts all the chain reaction, right? And Ash Mirror is a specific shield that once you kill an enemy, you get 1 to 10 lightning damage for each shocked enemy you've killed recently. So, we are killing shocked and shattered enemies, like frozen enemies, like all the time. So we get this buff constantly. So actually, once we charge in the first group and the first chain reaction goes off, it's perma instant kill all over the map, right? All right. So Ash Mirror and Cosprees. We have the chest explained with the Heralds. Light Poacher to give me some more regen, actually, because every time I lose Spirit Charges, I recover 5% of my life. Then we have, for quantity, we have Sadima's Touch, that gives us just flat 16 quantity. We have the Viscous Leech with another 5% quantity and 1% rarity of each 15 Rampage kills. If it's a good map, we are going for like 1000 kills, so that's quite a lot of rarity we got over here. Goldworm Boots for another 20% quantity. And the amulet I crafted like yesterday, I think. It's just tier 1 quantity with tier 1 rarity with a rarity enchant, or at least craft, and also the implicit mod is also rarity. So we have actually triple rarity on this beautiful piece. Other than that, we run 2 white socket Perea rings. They offer 15% quantity for the white socket, right? So in the end, we have like 15 here, 20 here, 5 here, 16 here, and another 10 over here, which sums up to be 81% quantity. If we go to Misk, we have 81 quantity and the 65 rarity coming from the amulet itself. Check. Let's go for the gems. In our main hand, we have Glacial Cascade, as explained before. In the melee crit, we're gonna shoot, or at least cast, proc the Glacial Cascade. It's with increased crit and conk effect, because we really want to instantly blow something up to start the chain reactions, right? In the shield, we have a cast when damage taken level 1 setup with Immortal Call to give us some more physical immunity for a short period of time. Because we're actually pretty squishy with like 2.7k life actually, and some energy shield. And with increased duration, so the Immortal Call actually lasts longer. In our helmet, we have greater multiple projectiles with faster projectiles in the Light Poacher. That counts for the Light Poacher proc itself. Then we got a 6-linked Herald of Thunder with increased critical strike, lightning penetration, increased area of effect, added cold damage, and empower support. For Herald of Ice, we got increased crit, increased area of effect, and added lightning damage support. In our gloves, that's a shield charge setup. That's shield charge with 45 faster attacks and culling strike. Culling strike, not to just cull an enemy, it's more like I get more attack speed for my shield charge, right? Because when it's quality on culling strike, you get attack speed. Here we have 2 Abyss Jewels. Basically, they are just like tier 1 life, tier 1 dex, and crit chance or crit multiplier, whatever you can get cheap. I choose to have dex because, as you see, when I unequip those, I actually can't even equip my Cosplays because they need a lot of dexterity, like 212 dexterity. We're getting the int pretty easy. We have like 408 int already just because of the skill tree, but we really lack dexterity. So instead of a Light Poacher, you could also go like a Zirconius or a Devotos because they offer like 60 dex or something. So that's pretty huge. Alright, if you can't afford the Perea rings, you can just go with Ventur's Gamble. Just take a look that you have like 7% increased quantity and positive rarity, multiplied by 2. The sockets I have here.
A follower has appeared.
Jesus, thank you for the follow, welcome. We have Blood Rage in here. Basically, I just leveled this gem up. I usually would run it, but I can't really sustain it at the moment. Light Poacher is not enough because if there isn't enough enemies here, I just die from Blood Rage, you know. So I maybe find a way to sustain it. Maybe when I get more levels and more skill trees, some more leech nodes and stuff, that I can sustain it. Other than that, it's just like, yeah, wasted spot over here. If you have any other idea that you can put in, feel free to do so. We have a portal gem over here, so I don't have to cast my portals all the time, what I actually do, because I'm just used to it. But yeah, so you can go to Ventur's Gamble, you can go Hibiscus, but I think that a 10 quantity amulet is just better overall, because Hibiscus is just like quantity on slain normal enemies and rarity on magic enemies. So yeah, this way, like the 81% and 65% is permanent, whatever I do. If I'm buffed, unbuffed, I just have this permanently, right? And because you just have like only on white enemies and stuff, right? But you can go that as well. So Gold Worm Boots are not that expensive. Biscus Leash is cheap as well. So is the Zerima's Touch. In overall, I would say if you have like 10 Axe on stash, you can pretty much build an Autobomber. I mean, all those items are perfect, right? So you have 2 double perfect Pereas and so on. So I pretty much spent like 30-40x on this character already. What is definitely not necessary. If you have like 10x starting budget, you can actually do it. And yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. Check. Flasks. We have a Diamond Flask of Bleeding to stop dying from bleeding. We have a Sulfur Flask for even more damage and curse immunity. A Stibnite Flask for some survivability and freeze immunity. Other than that, I have like min-maxed fire cold resistance because I have like all resistance on every piece of gear. So I had like the same amount of resistances, so I was like, yeah, let's go for a Wise Oak Flask. Definitely not necessary. And the Dying Sun for more area of effect, not necessary at all. But yeah, I have the currency, so I was just like throwing it in and yeah, have some more fun with the character. Bigger explosions, like, you know, that kind of style. But I'm pretty sure if I would sell all the gear, I can probably afford a Headhunter. But that's, you know, I'm just gonna farm one myself and yeah, we're gonna see. Alright, we went over the gear, over the gems, over the flasks. Let's take a look at the skill tree. There is actually nothing too fancy over here. We start as a Shadow because we actually need a ton of base crit because the Heralds don't offer crit at all, right? So Heralds, like other attacks, they have some kind of base crit, right? But Heralds don't, so you have to scale them somehow. And Assassin gives you quite a lot of base crit with Ascendancy, like Ambush and Assassinate, Opportunist, Unstable Form, Infusion, and Deadly Infusion. So here you have 2% critical strikes while at maximum power charges, multiplier, like everything, right? So we need a ton of base crit to actually, yeah, how much base crit do we have at the moment? Like 10%, I think. Yeah, we have like 9.5% base crit, and once I start blow up stuff, I'm getting up to like 30%, I think, like 29.5 or something. So that's way enough to just make very, very big explosions. Yeah, on the skill tree, this is just like, I will give a path of building link of this character at the moment, like the skill tree, jewels, gear and stuff, in the description below, so you can take a look. Other than that, we just have a lot of elemental damage, we have increased maximum life, a lot of dexterity, crit chance, crit multiplier. And special things is actually we run 2 inspired learnings, one on the left side, one on the right side. So we actually steal the buffs of the enemies, or at least from the champions or rare packs. And yeah, so we have one cluster over here. We go here for more life, we have more crit multiplier, more cold damage. We go over here, we have an intuitive leap to skill points, although I'm not even in range of it, right? So normally I would take those 3 points to get melding, but this way I can just spec whatever I want to have over here, so right? So we take the intuitive leap over here, take those 3 nodes, because why not? We go over here and start at the Scion point, because we also run a pure talent jewel. That means if I'm connecting my skill tree to the base or the starting area of different characters, I'm getting some stuff, right? So as you see, Shadow gives us 0.5 critical strike chance. This is a base crit, this is super awesome. We also get 25 all attributes from the Scion area, and I'm also connected to the Templar area. That gives me another 5% penetration. So here are the starting points, right? So here we connected to the Scion, we get 25 all attributes, which is pretty sexy since I said we need a lot of dexterity to equip the Cospreys. This is also the reason why I take this jewel slot here. I have better solutions to get a jewel slot with less than 5 points, but it gives 40 dexterity, right? And I barely got 212 dex for the Cospreys to equip. So, alright, let's go over here. This is just more power charges, another jewel slot, more area of effect. Here we connect to the Templar area to get the penetration. And here we have another cluster for the next inspired learning. You don't really need to run 2 inspired learnings. You can run without any inspired learnings if you already have a Headhunter. But since I'm farming one, I think this is the best way to go with 2 inspired learnings. Makes a lot of fun, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So other than that, yes, balancing the Wise Oak Flask. So as I said, we have like a ton of elemental resistance in overall gear, right? But we have like 50 fire res over here if it's perfect, and we have 40 cold in the belt and 40 lightning resistance. So we actually have 10 more fire resistance than we have cold and lightning. That's why I choose to go with a dual slot with just cold and lightning 10 to mix them up, and yeah, that's about it. In terms of other jewels, you can just go with increased max life, multiplier, crit chance, melee multiplier, whatever you can get, right? Check. Other jewels, yeah, this is just from questing to have more dexterity and elemental resistance. That's probably an ALC or even less. But yeah, that's about it on this case. So let's go through the MTX real quick, because you're probably interested what are the fancy effects, right? We have Herald of, like the Automaton Herald effect on Herald of Thunder. We have the Gore Glacial Cascade, Dark Immortal Call, Demonic Shield Charge, looks pretty sexy on my Demonic build. And the Celestial Herald effect for those blue circles on Herald of Ice. Other than that, Seraph Sword with the Forged Weapon effect that comes from the supporter pack. Extra gore, we have Wasteland Helm with the glowing red eyes, with Kitava body armor and Infernal Wings mixed with the Ultimate Chaos Shield, which looks pretty sexy, but it's $18, so yeah, if you want to invest that for some cool MTX, yeah. You gotta do so. I usually ran with the Fire Shield, but I think this one merges my demonic style even more. Other than that, we got Kitava Gloves with Kitava Boots, Fire Footprints, Ultimate Chaos Corrector Effect, Kitava Portrait Frame, and the Demon King Portal Effect. Check! We went through the Ascendancy's kill tree equipment, I explained a little bit about the playstyle, and yeah. I think, yeah, maybe one short thing about how heralds work. Like, if you are actually killing something, a shocked enemy, the Herald of Thunder will go off. But the problem is Herald of Thunder is actually a lightning spell, but it cannot shock, right? Because it says here on the screen, cannot apply shock. The same is with Herald of Ice. It explodes when you kill a frozen enemy, right? So it shatters and explodes. But the problem is that our Herald of Ice cannot freeze either, right? So, or at least this one can probably, I don't know. But it doesn't work for Herald of Thunder. That's why we actually mix the Herald of Ice with an added lightning support, so our Herald of Ice actually can shock because of the lightning damage. Same goes the other way around with Herald of Thunder is mixed with the added cold damage, so our Thunder does cold damage as well. So if we mix everything up, we got a shitload of cold damage and lightning damage that will shock and freeze all over the place, giving us those juicy explosions. And yeah, it's pretty fun. I got one doctor yesterday, and while you're watching this video, I'm currently probably farming the next 7 doctor cards. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.